everybody, welcome back to Drawing with Paolo. Today we're going to draw an igloo. It's a special request. Adam has asked me to draw an igloo for you, so I'm going to show Adam how to draw an igloo. And an igloo at the very basic shape is half a circle. So we're going to start by drawing half a circle here, and all you really need to do is draw half a circle like this. Now of course, use continuous strokes. And when the igloo touches the ground, this part here is rounded. You don't want a straight line because a straight line doesn't really make sense in the real world. There are no straight lines really. So we're going to erase that line as that it has to be a nice rounded curve here at the bottom. And an igloo has an access area, so a way to get in. And that access area usually is rounded as well. So we're going to curve a point like this. Alright, and sometimes it's a tunnel. So we're going to have a tunnel come out of the igloo. So we're going to pull a line from the top here and from the bottom here. We're going to use a little bit of perspective. We're going to curve this here. This line has to repeat as this one it does. We're going to repeat this curve like that. So what we need to do as well is add a little bit of a thickness to this igloo. So we're going to, this line has to come down and be about the thickness of the igloo like that. There we go. And we're going to draw this one a little bit curved inside a little bit more, which will represent the thickness of the igloo at the top. And there's the entrance to our igloo. Some of these entrances were really long, or others were a lot shorter. Some would even make a hole right inside the igloo itself and not have a passageway. But we're going to actually draw this thickness here of this igloo, taking us inside to the igloo, just like that. And there we have it. That's the entrance to the igloo. Now the next step is we want to make the blocks of the igloo, and the blocks are sort of stacked like bricks. And so if you make a line like that and draw it across, what you can do is draw some circular lines all the way around the igloo, just like this. And as you get to the top, you want to make them shorter and shorter, going up. So we're going to go like that, make them a little bit shorter, just to the top like that. And then you want to stagger the blocks. So we're going to put a block here, and a block there. And then the next row of blocks is the line has to be in the middle of this one, or maybe a little bit offset in realism. To keep close to reality, what we want to do is make sure that the blocks are different sizes and thicknesses, like that. And you keep drawing them across like this. And the lines don't have to be so straight. You can make like a crooked line sometimes. Remember that igloos are cut in nature and by Inuit, and they just have big knives or blades to cut this igloo stuff. And so they don't necessarily have straight lines. But they do then join them together, and as they join these blocks together, they cut across to make them fit together. And then that means that if all this stuff is sort of blocks, then the outside of the igloo can't be super straight either. So we have to make pieces of the igloo coming across, look like they don't really fit. And we have to do the same thing for the building here, the entrance. So we're going to pull lines across here. This will represent the blocks that were used to build that egress. And we're going to make the same lines here. And then we have to draw the blocks, so that the blocks go in like that. And remember that you don't have to keep them so straight. In certain cases you can even see the thickness of that block coming through like that. And the upper block needs to have a little bit of a curve at the top. And remember, you need to stagger the line. You can't have the same line going across because that stuff would fall apart. So igloos would have blocks that are offset, just like bricklaying, so that they can stick together a little bit better. Like this. And remember to draw your line down, because this block is this thickness, this block is that one, like that. You need to add another line up here. And you can even shade in a little bit of these little blocks here, because those, you can actually tell that there's a little bit of a thickness inside there, that we can see the blocks are staggered and stuff like that. A little bit more lead to my pencil here. Alright, so Adam wanted an igloo, and we're giving him one. This. Now see, I made a mistake here, so this has to be staggered. We can't have those lines matching up. We need to add a line over here. There we go. And one over here. And now this is the inside, so of course the inside is darker, and so we can just color that in. And we're going to make this line a little bit darker, because I'm happy with it. Remember that we don't want to keep it perfect, so we can make that line a little bit jaggedy. That. Alright, now we're going to color the inside. As the light maybe is coming this way and it can't reach inside this, and we can make it a little bit darker here in the deeper end and make it lighter as we come out. Right? So it gets dark inside that tunnel. And of course, this part here is touching the snow, so this is probably all like bumpy and stuff. So we can erase that part and just make it a little bit bumpy with your eraser. Just like that. And so there is really no line there, essentially. And if the light's coming this way, we can actually make this side a little bit shaded too. And I'm going to erase the bottom part a little bit and redraw how the snow might be affecting the igloo contour like that. I'm going to give it a little bit of shadow too. We're going to use a gradient here as well, so it's a little bit lighter on top here and darker on the sides. Do some cross hatching for this to look good. Alright, and this side's going to be a little bit darker too. I'm just going to draw some strokes here all the way around the U part of the igloo. Okay, so all of this little detail here, we need to repeat that within the igloo's shape. Alright, we need to do the same sort of pattern here. So we're going to add some thicknesses to these blocks, make them sort of come out. They don't have to be perfect shapes. Just play around with that a little bit, redrawing each of those squares and the thicknesses to each of those blocks to make them more realistic. Remember that there's snow over here, so we're going to add some snow on the sides here. That. There's a little bit of snow here. Just like this. And these ones are flat on top. Now, we may want to erase holes because, you know, there's some ventilation for these. They make fires inside the igloo. That's what keeps them warm. So we can actually cut a little hole in here, just like that, with your eraser, and then cut a nice circle in that. Now, as you do that, you need to rebuild your blocks and the thickness of that block on the top. The light's coming this way, so we need to darken this side here. Go lighter on this side, and make it really dark inside there. So there's a hole to the igloo. And you may want to draw some smoke coming out of that. Say the wind is traveling that way, so we're going to put a little smoke stack. Making some smoke come out of there. A little thickness to the smoke. There are people getting warm inside that igloo. Just like this. We're going to erase a bit of this line here. Make it a more continuous look to that smoke like that. Alright. Add a little bit of an environment back there. And remember the light's kind of this way, so we're going to shadow a gradient all the way around. So I'm going to start like this. It's going to be darker here and lighter as we go off. I'll make it darker over here. And this is actually casting a little bit of a shadow over here, just like that. And then this will be casting a shadow, the igloo is making a shadow in the snow. So you can make a little bit of a, if you like, you can actually, you know, redraw that shape and then color that in. So, and a little bit inside here too. There you have it. So for Adam out there, there's an igloo, and that's how you draw it. I mean, you can add a little few details inside this, you know, make it a little bit scuffier, and add a little bit of shading in here and there and so on to make it a little bit more raggedy. But essentially, this is the basic elements to drawing an igloo. And in the background, you can add a little bit of mountain tops and things. But there you go. That's my igloo. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Drawing with Paolo.